Can you just imagine where we're going to be in 5 years when that technology gets even better?
Bro, every time I see technological advancements now, I get scared.
Yeah.
You've seen that what's it called?
Sora.
You've seen that?
That's reality is better with the augmentation of it.
Yep.
Can you just imagine where we're going to be in 5 years when that technology gets even better?
Bro, every time I see technological advancements now, I get scared.
Yeah.
You've seen that what's it called?
Sora.
You've seen that?
That's crazy.
Bro. And it's still in beta testing. Imagine we're going to be 10 years from now.
Yeah.
And I think personally, what I try and do is get ahead of these things. So I'm not a geek. I'm not technologically super advanced. I have a lot of people who work for me who are. So even inside the war room or inside the real world, I have people inside of my platforms whose specific job, who I pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to a month. So they're on top of these things. So we can teach it to other people. And I see something like Sora and think, okay, that can make me a lot of money if I'm ahead of the curve. So I need to get my team involved in it. We need to make a whole bunch of money. But if you're the average person at home and you're watching AI continually take over the world and you're not at least learning how to implement it so you can benefit, you're toast. You're toast. Most people are going to be replaced so quickly. I don't think the average person at home realizes how replaceable they are. I'd argue now that 80% of the normies I talk to, ChatGPT would be far more interesting than them. They're that boring. The average person at home, if they were trying to get a girl, would be better off putting ChatGPT in the combo than themselves. That's how bad they are. And they're arrogant and they're narcissistic and they think, no, I'm special. Most of you are not special. You're not. And because you're not special, you're going to be replaced by machines. And once you're replaced by machines, you're going to become useless. And you're still going to have expectations. You're still going to want to eat and you're still going to want a wage and you're still going to want a good house and a nice car. What are the elites going to do with the populace once they become completely useless and remain to be entitled? You're useless eaters. Useless eaters always end up decimated. In any period of human history, in any civilization, if you had a large subsect of the populace that had no purpose, they got decimated. So if you're at home sitting there thinking, well, I can become useless and the government will just feed me, I'd argue they'll starve you to death instead because they don't need you around. And most people are going to be replaced very quickly by these machines. Sora, I said to my camera guys when I saw Sora, I was like, you're out of a job. You're fired. You're fired. We started laughing about it, but it's true. And think of how fast technology advances. Where are we going to be in 20 years from now?
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
It's insane. You need to get ahead of these things.
Yeah, I think AI, we've talked about the negative effects of AI. We know that it's bad for you. The reality of life is that once that technology is invented, you're never going to uninvent it.
Oh, of course.
Like we know social media is bad for you, but you're never going to uninvent social media. It's here forever.
But it can be used for good and bad.
Exactly. And AI is here forever. And it's going to get worse and more advanced. It's going to take over parts of our lives. We know this. As much as you want to hate it and fight it, as much as I think it's going to be so much evil that comes from it, you have to almost understand it.
Well, I'll give you a very quick example. It can be used for good or bad. Social media can be negative if you sit there and digest bad information, but it's also one of the reasons we managed to get to such large subsects of the population. So it can be a good thing and a bad thing. Inside the real world, inside my online university, we push AI very heavily. And I was having a conversation with someone the other day who said, oh yeah, I don't use AI because I'm a club promoter. And I said, if you're in any business in the world today, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber, it doesn't matter if you're a club promoter, it doesn't matter what business you're in, you should be learning how to implement AI because it's going to be the people who use AI and the people who fail. Those are the only two options, which is why we teach it so heavily inside of my university. And I said to the club promoter, what do you do? He said, well, I get guys to book expensive tables at the club because I bring pretty girls to the table. And I said, okay, well, if you had an AI machine, let's say you use Sora to put together a video of the best club night ever. And let's say you use ChatGPT to speak to lots of girls and explain what's going to happen and why they're going to have a great time at the club. And also get ChatGPT to speak to rich men and explain to them what a great time they're going to have. And you could mass speak to people at a much larger rate than you can do by yourself sitting there typing. You're going to make more money.
Yeah.
You can implement AI in club promotion. You can get the most fancy video and you can get a ChatGPT learning bot to realize exactly, this is actually a point I want to make, to realize exactly what trigger words get the girls to want to party and what trigger words get the guy to want to spend money. And you can put together some data and you can stop talking to people completely and you can focus on the AI learning mechanisms to do all the work for you, which is why we're teaching it inside of my university. There's not a job on earth where you shouldn't be using AI mechanisms to do it for you because that's what they're doing to us already.
Yeah.
We live in this surveillance capitalism world where a lot of the tech companies, a lot of the largest companies in the world are making money purely based on prediction of our behavior. They build digital versions of us online. They build there's a digital Matt, there's a digital Andrew based on all of our spending habits, how long we spend on each website, which part of the website we click on first, which websites we visit, how long we spend on our email, which email topics make us reply. They're constantly gathering data on us and putting together digital versions of us so they can predict our behavior to make as much money from us as possible. And once they can do that, they then try and alter our behavior so that we become more profitable. And they do this on purpose so that we become a person who's worth $12.59 to be a person who's worth $14.03 by altering how we react to certain things. So they're already building algorithms and trying to adjust how our mind works. And if you have a company or you are interested in making money in the world today and you're not considering doing exactly that, you're going to permanently fail.
Yeah, and I agree completely. I think a lot of people say, hey, I'm working 2 jobs and I feel like I need a way to make some extra income. Yes, I agree. You need more money. Everyone needs more money. If you want to learn something, if you're 15 or you're 55, it's not too late to get into AI.
100%.
And yes, is it evil? Yes, I think so. However, you're not going to uninvent it.
Yep.
You might as well learn it because this is a way where you can add some extra income to your life. And it's not overly difficult if you just spend a little time to figure it out.
And this is what's interesting because the current educational systems of Earth, none of them are teaching AI.
Yeah.
I mean, perhaps maybe you go to MIT and you learn about robotics or something, fine.
And at a very advanced level, which you don't need.
Absolutely. The average school isn't teaching you about AI. The average MBA you will do won't teach you about AI. I'm going to sit here and make it very clear and obvious. The only school on the planet I can find that will teach you about artificial intelligence is my one, The Real World, and it's $49. For $49, we'll teach you exactly how to use AI to make a whole bunch of money. Which goes back into a point I was saying earlier about certain people are just tied into the matrix and don't want to be freed. If we will sit here and have a long conversation about how artificial intelligence is going to replace most people, and if you don't implement it, you're going to become useless, and your entire bloodline is going to be exterminated because you don't serve any purpose to society. And I'm going to teach you how to use artificial intelligence for $49, and you're still not going to do it. Well, then I guess you just deserve eternal slavery for your bloodline. Some people are just born to lose, I assume. But it's extremely important we implement these things. So when I watched Sora, the conversations I've had, it was only 2 days ago. I was on the phone for 6 or 7 hours with my team inside The Real World saying, okay, how can we use this? What can we do with this? And there's 2 different ways to look at it. There is, how can we use artificial intelligence now when no one else is really using it? How do we get ahead of the curve and continue to make millions of dollars? That's easy. The real question is, how do we use AI when everyone else is using it? Once it becomes mainstream and everyone else can do it, when everyone else can produce adverts at the drop of a hat, when everyone else can make their product look fantastic when it isn't, when everybody else can use ChatGPT to be extremely funny and charming and interesting, when there's neurolinks in their brain and everybody can talk like Andrew Tate. Because right now only Andrew Tate can talk like that. When I lose my ability to speak more concisely and compendiously than everybody else, how do I compete then? That's going to be the hard one. But right now we're in a transitional period where it's easy because if you join The Real World or you pay attention or you learn these things, you're so ahead of everyone else. It's like the first person to turn up to the gold mine and you could just dig and pick up all the gold, but there'll become a time where the gold mine's flooded. And that's where you really have to think ahead. So we had a long conversation about how to make a bunch of money now, and that was easy. But the real question is, how do we all make a bunch of money in 20 years when AI is standardized? That's what's going to be the interesting conversation.
I mean, the future is digital. Everything's going to be AI. Everything's going to be digital. We know this for sure. If you think it's not, you're got your head in the sand. It's happening no matter what.
100%.
If you are one of the few rare people that are able to clarify and put your ideas out in the world, and the people with analog reasoning and logic and thought and original thought will be the most valuable because of scarcity, right? If you are not one of those people, but you need a way to supplement your current income, I think you have to get into AI. You have to.
100%.
You either feel like you can make it on your own through originality. So people, even if you're a photographer, people who take the most epic analog pictures will be more valuable because there's less of you. If you can make movies and you can be original and you are, I don't know, who's a famous movie producer?
I don't even know nowadays. I can't say George Lucas. I'll get too much Star Wars heat.
No, you can't say that anymore. If you can do that on your own, then you'll be more valuable because of scarcity. If you don't feel like you're the upper echelon of your industry, you have to embrace AI. That's what I think.
100%, because it allows you to work at mass at a much more effective rate, much more effectively. I mean, the amount of websites which, I mean, copywriting is a thing, right? And it still is a thing. But the amount of websites which could benefit from a complete copy change with ChatGPT would make their copy better than it currently is. The amount of average electricians that have a little terrible website somewhere in Texas, and you could literally chat GPT their entire website, and you could charge them money for that, and they don't even realize that you use chat GPT because they don't have a clue what it is because they're behind the times, and you could literally make money for 10 seconds work. Now, if you could get an AI bot to reach out to them all, if you get an AI bot to speak to them all, if you could produce them a movie using Sora showing the coolest electrician on earth, like there's so much potential that can be done. It's so ridiculously easy to make money if you actually try. But implementing AI is something you need to do because it's the future. It's like ignoring gunpowder. If you ignore gunpowder, you'll lose the war. You could have looked at gunpowder at some point and said, we got bows and arrows, it'll be fine. No, it won't. As it advances, it's going to get to the point where they soon have Gatling guns and you're all toast. And it's exactly the same in the business environment, which is why we're implementing AI. Inside the real world, we don't just have an AI campus. We implement AI into every other campus. So we have a specific campus on artificial intelligence, and then we implement AI in our copywriting campus and our crypto campus and all of our other campuses. We have 18 of them. But it's super important that it's done. And I'm kind of also, we talk about fraternity. I'm not going to lie. I'm very glad I have such a good network of people because I have so many people who work for me and people around me who know things I don't know. And it's amazing. And I'll tell you another thing that's kind of scary. There are so many kids nowadays that are smart, bro. I have 18, 19-year-olds who work for me doing this AI stuff. And I'm like, bro, I'm a dinosaur now. I'm like, I don't know. I can talk. And you can't talk like me. You're socially awkward and weird, and you can't get laid. I can do all that, but you're doing this, bro.
They just figured it out.
Bro, it's crazy. The world's changing so fast, and you need to have a team of people. It's kind of like the chessboard, right? I think one of the problems we have in the West, especially, I've noticed, I feel like families in the East are a little bit better. Certainly Islamic families are better, but in the West, everyone wants to be the king on the chessboard.
Yeah.
But truthfully, to have a good team, you need a king, and you need a bishop, and you need a rook, and you need a knight, and you need pawns, and everyone needs to know their job. And if everyone does their job well, you win the game. Especially the queen. She's another piece on the chessboard, one of the most powerful pieces. If everyone does their job right, then you're fine. But when you have a bunch of people trying to be the king, then it all falls apart. So I think one of the powers of my fraternity especially is that I have my role and people have their roles, and we work together, and we forever win. We never lose.
But if you're a ruler of the world and one of the globalist elite, and the world is your chessboard, isn't that why they think what they think? Everyone needs to have their role.
100%.
And I'm the king.
100%.
And everyone else,